No matter who the Democratic nominee, I'm gonna vote for Trump. And you wanna know why?
Oh my gosh, this video's
If Trump gets elected and does not leave after 4 years, I will buy the first person to comment, "I told you so," a car toy model. Have you ever seen those polls where like a certain percentage of people are planning to vote for Trump and certain other percentage of people Biden and some are undecided, and you think to yourself, who is undecided at this point? Well, me. Until
Yeah.
recently. I was going back and forth on it, but I made my decision. Hi, my name is Charlie, and I am an independent voter living in the state of Pennsylvania. I have voted for both Democrats and Republican in the same election. The last midterms, I voted Republican for Senate and Democrat for governor. And unfortunately, as someone who used to hate his guts, I have to eat my own words. Things have come to this point where I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm voting for Trump.
Oh my
And as of this
gosh.
time of recording, there are talks of Biden dropping out because of his infirmity. But really does not matter. No matter who the Democratic nominee, I'm going to vote for Trump. And you want to know why? Two reasons. I started to like Mr. Trump, and I am fed up with the Democratic Party. And
Oh
I
my
am
gosh.
looking to punish them. Let us start
Oh my
there.
gosh. Oh my gosh. This video's Oh wow. Uh wow, this got very intense. Make sure you grab your popcorn because it's gonna be good.
You guys must think that we are all stupid, or that we have the memory of a goldfish. How else can you account for this inartful, clumsy gaslighting to which you are subjecting us? I have been dismayed at the things that Democrats have been telling the public for these past few years that frankly makes no sense to me, especially the dictator talk. Oh, Trump is a threat to democracy, a danger to the republic. Members of
Keep hearing that
mainstream
too.
media saying that this election might be our last, that Trump will never leave office if he is elected. Are you guys serious? Comparing Trump to Hitler, saying America is now headed towards a Christian theocracy, let's not kid ourselves. This is extremist rhetoric. Not only is this bereft of any attachment to reality, like a trigger warning, it also tends to create the very dangers it purports to forewarn. And that danger is a fissure in our system. This rhetoric that one half of the country wants to elect a dictator and that voting for you is the only way to save democracy, to me, has the same flavor as a closeted gay guy going off on homophobic rants. As in, I think you're projecting. But like a closeted gay guy saying something homophobic, you might not be aware that that's what you're doing. You might just be in denial. You might actually believe that you are saving democracy. But in denial, nevertheless, you are. And I think you are in denial because to accept the truth that you're hungry for power, that you are famished for dominion over the narratives that will make its way onto our history books, to accept that truth is to accept that you have become the very thing that you hate.
That's very true because let's say you are in the Democratic Party, and I think people should just vote objectively 100% of the time. But let's say you are in the Democratic Party. Why are you pushing narratives that Donald Trump is some sort of dictator or that he's some sort of super violent threat to our existence? Why don't you just look back to his 4 years as president and just point out policies that directly hurt our country? And the reason I say that is because if you really want to sway the opinions of educated voters, the best way to do that is just to go back to when he was in power and say he did this, and this, and it all hurt us. But I never hear that. I never really hear the wrong things he did as president. I always hear about things that are anecdotal or things that are hypothetical that just didn't even happen. Like, for example, Donald Trump will never leave office if we reelect him. Logically speaking, and factually speaking, he left office the last time he was voted. He didn't win the election. He left. He left. He's not there anymore. It wasn't like he was locked up for locking himself in the White House. He left. So when you say things like that, I ask the question: What are you basing this? What are you basing this off of?
You are a cliche in a superhero movie. In what universe would Trump become a dictator if he was elected? Not in this one. Well, here's the thing, okay? I do not believe that the election was stolen. Sounds to me like a kooky conspiracy theory. We've all gotten to know Trump's personality, right? He hates to lose or to admit fault. And so when he said that, I thought to myself, oh, this can't possibly be right, even before the courts ruled on this matter. In my opinion, it was a mistake for Mr. Trump to say that without definitive proof, just as Democrats, in retrospect, were wrong for saying Russian interference in 2016 swung the election in favor of Trump without having any actual proof to show for that incendiary contention. And I wish he would stop saying this. But here's the thing. They say that action speaks louder than words, right? You all remember when Trump was president. And I gotta tell you, what I saw was a far cry from the actions of a dictator. Think, for one, about his signature immigration policies. I remember when he tried to alter some of these federal regulations that raised the bar for green card applicants, the public charge rule, for instance. Under that rule, you would not have been eligible for a green card if you went on welfare as an immigrant and cannot support yourself. His administration went through the ordinary rulemaking process, the notice and comment period, and when challenged in the courts by state attorney generals of democratic states, his administration obeyed court orders to halt implementing his new rules. Same thing with the wall. In fact, even though much of his agenda was frustrated by litigation, as is the case with all modern presidencies, there was no single instance where his administration disobeyed a court order.
And this is what I want to hear, man. This is what I want to hear. This is how you really sway voters. You talk about things that actually happen in real life. Because like he said, actions, I don't care what nobody says, actions speak louder than words. They always did. They always will. He's talking about things that Donald Trump or Donald Trump's administration actually did during his presidency. I would respect, even if you disagree with him, even if you vote for Kamala or if you voted for Biden, I'm not even talking about that. It is way more respectable to hear someone say things that actually happened. That's way more convincing for me because at the end of the day, I'm not a child and you will not brainwash me. Tell me things that Donald Trump did. Tell me things that Kamala Harris did. Tell me things that Biden did. Then we can have a logical and reasonable discussion on who will be best suited to lead our nation.
Does that sound like a dictator to you? Do you have so little faith in our system of separation of powers and checks and balances that you actually think that Trump would rule for life? You're not living in the real world. And even as I make a distinction between speech and action and tell you that his past action does not indicate that he would become a dictator if he took office once again, I also question whether his speech, brash and populist as it may be, reflects the will of a dictator. Take January 6th, okay? You are all calling it an insurrection. And if Trump was a dictator in the making, that would have been the time for him to egg them on. Did he do that? Because what I remember was Trump releasing a statement, do not be violent. If you want to protest, do so peacefully. But then the media, even today, trying to hang Trump and Trump supporters vis-a-vis guilt by association, do you disavow the actions of January 6th, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, you guys, give it a rest. Enough with this mass hysteria dictator talk. The public is not buying it. If Trump gets elected, he will leave after his term is up and America will keep chugging along. It's not going to turn into North Korea. My God. How about this? If Trump gets elected and does not leave after 4 years, I will buy the first person to comment, I told you so, a car. Toy model. I challenge you to ask yourself whether this vote for me or you'll get a dictator talk is at least as damaging to the vitality of our system of government as saying the election was stolen. But the gaslighting does not just stop there. The Democratic Party has also been lying to us about Biden. Okay? So, it was clear to me and a lot of folks from years back that Biden was not cognitively fit to hold office.
He's right. He's right. I actually just seen a video today of Joy Reid, who is a CNN talking head, or she's left-leaning, and she talks on one of the major left-leaning news sources, saying that Donald Trump is too old to be in office, something along those lines. How we need someone young. And she said this because Donald Trump is running against Vice President Kamala Harris. But it's just strange to me how you're saying that Donald Trump is too old when we just had President Biden in office, and I've never heard anyone on the left, at least, talk about his age. It was like they were gaslighting us into thinking that it was normal. But now you're talking about him being too old. It's just a weird, manipulative, whatever, word spaghetti. It's just a weird tactic.
How was it clear? Video footage. But what did we get for years from Democratic operatives? Oh, Biden is as fit as he ever was. He's Dark Brandon. He's Arnold Schwarzenegger after getting a pump in. It's Trump whose cognitive function is on the decline. What do we get from the media? The reason why you're thinking this might be because of ageism. The bias was clear. They were telling us for years, don't believe your own eyes. Oh, the crowd was not chanting F Joe Biden. They were saying, let's go Brandon. What do you call that? I don't know. Fake news? Hey, just a quick question. When did our news media lose its backbone and become the agitation and propaganda wing of the Democratic Party? Biden fumbling on the stairs of Air Force One or rambling incoherently? Oh, that's a cheap fake. Not a deep fake, but a cheap fake. It's real, but also not real, because it's taken out of context. Again, this is how little the Democratic Party thinks of the voting public. And then, after the most recent debate performance, when the obvious could no longer be denied without losing all credibility, the media's take is, oh, most recently, it seems like his health declined greatly. We should think about a new candidate.
Just gaslighting. Just pure gaslighting.
Are you serious? You let this drag on. Are you going to take some responsibility for gaslighting the public for years up until shit hit the fan? Is any member of the media going to get the sack after causing untold damage to the country by abusing the public's trust? Or what about Biden's handlers? No? Didn't think so. So, punishing the Democrats for this misbehavior, that's what I'm looking to do this election cycle. They think because they're opposing Trump, they can mistreat the voting public and get away with it. Nah. Treat us with respect. Don't treat us like we're stupid. Come November, I will vote a straight Republican ticket with Trump at the top. Into it what you want to. What he's saying is, if you have an unchecked border, you have no idea what kind of bad elements are pouring in. And by the coincidence of the circumstances, most people that were pouring in happened at the time to be Mexican. There's got to be some good people coming in. But
so right now he's referring to Donald Trump's initiative to close the border. Honestly, and this is just a question because I don't even fully understand a lot about politics. It's really complicated. I'm learning. I'm an engineer by trade. But why would we keep a super open border for illegal immigrants? And the reason I ask that question is the word illegal. Doesn't that imply that it's wrong? If you say something is illegal, at least in modern times, that would mean that the government genuinely believes that this thing is wrong. So when you have government officials promoting illegal activities, such as illegally crossing a border, it's just weird to me. It's just really strange to me. You would want them to enter the right way, but that's not happening on one side. I really don't understand it. So if somebody can explain that in the comments, please do.
Also bad people, and we should be worried about the bad. There's nothing racist about what he said. Or take the Kung Flu remark during the pandemic. Yeah, it was racial. But it was also a joke. It was a pun. I was offended at the time. I don't think I would be now. I think it was the environment I was in. I was in a school with a bunch of woke people. Had I been at the restaurant, I think I would have been laughing at it with all the other Korean servers. Why do I think that? Because we laugh at things like that all the time. And so the guy can tell jokes. Yeah, people like that. Makes him relatable despite the huffing and puffing of the uppity idiots that appear on national television and act offended on behalf of the country.
Well, he's not allowed to tell jokes because Donald Trump is public enemy number one, apparently. But anyways, if you have any suggestions for me, comment down below. That was our Jojo.